Welcome back to another episode of White Claw Wednesdays. This is episode 67. I'm here in Hawaii. Frank's at his new crib. And let's crack these, dude. Oh, yeah. Frank, I got to say, dude, this is the second week in a row that you've forgotten the cheers.
Cheers up, man. Cheers up. That's my bad. You know, I get excited because it's ice cold.
Okay, mine are ice cold too, and I was just telling you beforehand, but it is insanely hot in this room. Yeah. Actually, we were having a little bit of technical difficulties, and I had to restart my laptop. And in that time, Amanda knocked on the door. I let her in. She was like picking up laundry or whatever. As she's leaving the room, she like turns around and she's like, "It is disgustingly hot in this room." So that's where we're at right now, or that's where I'm at.
Yeah. You know, it's not that cool over here, I gotta say, because the new apartment, it doesn't have AC, but that's because, you know, we're just a couple miles from the beach, so we got that beach weather.
Right, you got the beach breeze or the sea breeze.
Yeah.
So how I was like looking at it,
mm-hmm.
and I mean, I don't want to give away your location, but I was looking at it on the map.
Yeah.
And at first I was like, oh my God, like they are right next to the beach. And then I start zooming in and I see like all the streets come up and I'm like, oh wait, like they're pretty far actually. Like how close are you? I'm assuming like 20 minutes.
Dude, you're assuming wrong. 5-minute
really?
drive. 5-minute drive.
Get out of here. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, really. 5-minute drive.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm thinking
wow.
You say 20 minutes. I'm thinking it's 20 minutes on bike.
I mean, okay, maybe I shouldn't have said 20 minutes. That doesn't make sense with what I saw. Maybe 10-minute drive, but okay.
Yeah,
that's so cool.
It would be 10 if it was, you know, a crowded Saturday during summer, I assume. But yeah, on a regular Tuesday, I'm guessing it's 5-minute drive because that's what it was for the first couple times when we came down here.
Right on. So you guys excited about it?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, so you are all moved in at this point. Are you in your room or where are you at right now?
No, right now I'm just at the kitchen table.
Cool.
I haven't completely moved in yet because I need to get a U-Haul going with Scott, and we need to get our stuff in there. Yeah.
You know what? You can get instead of going with U-Haul, try getting a truck or something from Home Depot. So much cheaper.
Really? You can rent
them out
Depot?
like yeah, you can rent them out. It's like $30-$40 for the actual car, and then it's like added on every hour or something like that. But it's way cheaper because I think with U-Haul you have to like minimum is like a day or something. Anyways, go ahead.
Yeah, so I pretty much just did kind of a soft move in, I guess you could call it, because I moved in a lot of important stuff and a lot of important kitchen items, and I'm just sleeping on like a futon mattress that's on the floor. So,
dude, you're really out there, man.
Yeah, just because, like, I don't know. I mean, we've already started to pay for the place, so it's like, okay.
Yeah, might as well.
I'm gonna
absolutely.
I'm gonna start staying here, and I can do like the little things, like getting things ready while, you know, Scott and Sam, because Sam's not gonna come till he finishes that actuarial test. So, you know.
Wow, man, that is so exciting. I'm so happy for you guys.
Yeah, I'm pumped.
So just you three, right? So each of you have your own room?
Yeah, we each have our own room. Yep.
Badass, man.
Yeah, dude, we found a great deal. It was just one of those things where all the stars kind of aligned, and
you had to jump on it.
Yeah, because you were around Scott for a decent amount of time when I was trying to convince him to move out, and you know how resistant he was being.
And he could be hesitant.
Yeah,
yes.
So it just really goes to show you that the stars really did align, because I got Sam and Scott both juiced about this place when, you know, Scott is usually hesitant, and then Sam had this test that he really just wanted to focus on and study for. But I was able to, you know, get him jacked about this place and secure it. So it was a move that came out of nowhere that I'm very, very proud of.
Sick, yeah. I was talking to Amanda about it, and I was like, oh, I think, you know, what's more surprising to me is that not only are you living with Scott, but you're also living with Sam. You know, like when we were talking about it at first, I mean, this was back like maybe probably almost 9 months now.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, Scott, like, please move in with me. And Sam and I were over here, like, just laughing about it, you know, just thinking about, like, the possibility of you two moving in together. And then now the three of you are moving in together. It's so funny how things work out, right?
Yep. Oh, man. Yeah. It's going to be, every day is going to be like a summer. I'm just so excited for summer, dude. Summer's almost here, you know? And, dude,
yeah.
And are you coming back for summer?
I'm going to be back May 21st. Let me see. I have a calendar right here. May 17th, actually. Dude, I will be back.
Dude, we will be fully immersed and fully set up by the time you get back. Yeah. And
sick.
We can, we come over and we can hit the beach. Oh, yeah.
I'm excited, man. I'm excited. I'm telling you, I do want a key. Like, if I just, like, show up unannounced, be like, oh, yeah, I was in town. I'm like, what's up?
No, we are allowed to make copies of the keys, so.
Oh, wow, that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah. But did you stream the Jake Paul fight?
I didn't stream it, but I actually, I didn't even watch the highlights because there wasn't really highlights for it. Yeah. It was just the knockout. Yeah. And I just saw it on my Instagram, and I was like, wait, first of all, I didn't even realize it was happening.
Yeah.
And then I'm all messed up with, like, this Hawaii time, dude. I'm all over the place with things like that. And I just see it on my feed, and I'm like, oh, you gotta be kidding me. Like, I was really hoping he was going to get knocked out.
You know, Ben Askren looked like he
Didn't he look like such a square?
He looked like such a, not a fighter.
Dude, he looked like he was so out of shape is what he looked like to me. Like, he looked like he was just trying to put on weight, but even then, it didn't even look like he was working out. I don't know.
Yeah, it just looked like all the weight was, like, in his stomach, gut area. Yeah. And he just didn't look like he cared either.
Yeah.
You know, the way his fists were up and it, I don't know, it just, I mean, good for Jake Paul for knocking out a UFC fighter, but
I mean, hey, it was entertaining. To me, it almost seemed like he wasn't really training. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Just looking at him, his body movement. I mean, I did watch a good amount of it. It didn't really vibe with me that he was training hard. And, like, Jake looks, I mean, obviously he's fit, you know, and stuff. But also, I mean, the way he was moving around and stuff like that, he looks like he's been training for a while.
Yeah, I really think that Jake has put in the work, and I think that Ben was just, I guess, in it for a paycheck with the way he looked. You know, I think
it's really embarrassing for him.
Yeah,
like,
I do.
Really,
I do too.
This might be worse than the knockout, the fastest knockout.
Oh, worse than the Masvidal? Yeah.
Yeah.
See, that's what's funny. Like, when I heard Ben Askren's, like, I was watching. Oh, I did the thing I always do. Remember when I talked about, like, how the way to not pay for a fight but still be watching the fight after it's happened without knowing who won? Remember I told you how, like, you go on YouTube?
Oh, yeah, the strat
where you don't look at anything. Like, you kind of just blur your vision and you type in the highlights and you just click on the first video because it's bound to be the best.
Yeah.
I did that for the Jake Paul fight, and so I got the full experience of watching, like, him knock out Ben Askren and be like, oh my god. And I really recommend that strategy for anybody feeling like they wasted money on this fight. But I gotta say that,
and thank God we didn't pay for it, right?
Yeah. One of my favorite parts was Snoop Dogg yelling, "Get me my money, Jake. Get me my money." He just started screaming, "Get me my $2 million," you know? Because he made like a $2 million bet with Dana White. Because Dana White was Dana White was mad at Jake Paul for, talking shit on him and stuff, and Dana White said, "Oh, Ben Askren's going to knock out Jake Paul, no problem." And then Snoop Dogg was like, "Well, I was, commentating on the Nate Robinson knockout that Jake had, so I have full confidence in this guy." So Snoop Dogg took that action, and now I'm wondering if Dana White is actually going to pay Snoop Dogg $2 million. But that was
gentleman's agreement.
Exactly. I don't know what kind of bet they made, but was it just a gentleman's handshake?
Maybe it was just for Twitter. Did you see what DC said about it, Daniel Cormier?
No, I didn't, but I did hear that he had a take. What was it?
He was basically just like laughing about it, and he's like, Ben, how could you let him do this to you? Like, how, like, Ben, you let Jake do this to you, you know, stuff like that.
Oh wait, I did watch that. It's like him like holding the camera up in front of his TV.
Yeah.
Okay,
like his immediate reaction, and then he's like, someone's gonna have to. Jake needs a real fighter now. He needs a real fighter.
It's a great point.
Or a real boxer, I think.
Real boxer, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta agree with DC crazy on that. You know, because we've clearly he can draw numbers, pay-per-view numbers, and he's popular enough. I think it'd be really fun to watch him fight someone really big, or just someone who's actually like a real boxer. You know, I don't know if that's not part of his move. If his part of his move is like fighting dudes he knows he can beat, that's not even a diss. That's not even a diss to him. Like that's. But I would just love to see him fight someone in his weight class and who is a boxer. You know, and I think after this fight, like after him knocking out Ben Askren, and then knocking out Nate Robinson, and then he has one other fight. I'm not sure who his other fight is, but two of his 3 knockouts. I think other boxers look at those guys he's knocked out and they're like, oh, I still don't think he's a legit boxer. So I would love to see someone just confident as hell just challenge Jake, and then we can finally see if like all what seems like such serious training coming from Jake is like is legit, you know?
Yeah, I mean, at this point, like the guy's been quote unquote fake boxing for like 3 years. So
yeah.
I mean, you can call it, oh, he's not a real boxer, but like he's got experience under his belt, you know?
Oh yeah, definitely. And he has the confidence too, you know?
Oh yeah. He's got that. It's like genetic.
He's got that he's got that kind of that swagger, that fighting swagger. I don't know if I guess a lot of people would probably say he's copying Conor McGregor, but I do see a lot of that same sort of energy in his conferences, like his press conferences, in terms of shit talking. But I also kind of like how he's got that villain kind of thing where
absolutely.
You're either like with him in a way or you hate him. I think that also makes him really interesting in terms of being a fighting boxer.
I think that more people want to see him fail, and in that it makes him a shit ton of money. You know,
exactly.
He's like, I mean, in his point of view, like who should he? You know, why would he care? Mm-hmm. He'll keep boxing and knocking people out. And people can keep hoping that he's gonna get beat. But I mean, at this point, I mean, he beat an MMA fighter, which, like, I mean, to me, Ben Askren did not look good at all. No. Maybe he was just trying to put on weight in general, which was probably the plan since Jason's, I mean, a good amount taller than him and bigger than him naturally. But I mean, I don't know. I think it's still really respectful, you know. Respectable. You know, you can't do that and knock him out. I mean, the punch he threw was legit as fuck, dude. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it was like clean, boom, dude. And I mean, it looked like it would have knocked anyone out. So it was, props to him.
It was just a great right punch. You know, I mean, I don't know the technical terms of boxing.
Well, he hit him with one. He tapped him,
one,
and then he came in with the left,
and then he came with the right, and just pow. But that's what's kind of funny, or some would call it sad, about Ben Askren's career, is that someone who is pretty fair weather fan when it comes to fighting and knowing about fighting sports, like me, now when I think of Ben Askren, I'm just going to think of the dude who got kneed and is the fastest knockout in UFC history, and then the guy who got knocked out by Jake Paul. And that being said, like he's a super successful wrestler, and he has a very solid winning record in the UFC.
Mm-hmm.
But still, because of his I'll give him I won't really hold it against him in the Masvidal thing, because that was just kind of that was just an incredible knee. That was
yeah.
You can't really survive that. But the Jake Paul thing and coming out looking like that, like you're not ready to fight and looking out of shape, and then also just looking like you've never defended yourself from punches ever in your life, because it's not like UFC fights aren't started in the boxing stance, it's like,
well, he's had striking experience before. That's what's like the thing. Yeah, he trained as a UFC fighter.
Of course, but it was just like he looked like he was only a wrestler. Like he looked like this was his first time putting his hands up to defend punches.
So where does he go from here, dude? What do you think? Like, what does he do? I mean, the world basically thinks he sucks. I mean, how do you not hate on the guy at this point? Like, it's hard not to,
He made at least $500,000 on the fight.
Well, I mean, yeah, he'll be fine, like financially, but what does he do?
I'm just. Well, you're asking what he does. Like, I don't know what kind of life this guy lives. If he lives if his life is simple enough, he can just disappear forever and live off his bag from this fight. But I don't know what kind of guy. Like, that's again goes back to my point. I know nothing about Ben Askren except the fact that he got knocked out the quickest ever in UFC history, and he got beat by Jake Paul.
Well, I'm pretty sure he was a really good wrestler in college, and then I think he did really well in another league. Then went to the UFC. I think was doing okay, and then the Masvidal fight, then lost another one, then retired, and then now this. So, what does he do?
Well, I mean, if he retired from the UFC right before doing this fight with Jake Paul, I forgot about that detail, and that also makes me think maybe he is a simple man who is down to just cruise the rest of his life with, over $500,000.
I gotta say, that's probably the bet for him. I really don't think that he should try and do anything else at this point. Yeah, maybe train wrestlers. That would be my thing. It's just do that, dude.
Get a high school coaching wrestling job at your local high school or something like that, or college.
I wasn't gonna say high school. Yeah, college coach would be a nice, good.
What, you don't think high school wrestling is serious?
No, I just think that he's probably at a higher caliber than that. I don't know.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. But I'm just saying, if he wants a more lax schedule.
Oh, high school.
Go with the high school. Yeah,
absolutely. But I think now a lot of the coaches you have to teach as well. I think that's what it is, because don't most coaches have to teach in high school? That's the rules, right? Or you have to be a PE teacher or something. I don't know.
Yeah, something I'm pretty sure. It's. I mean, I don't know the rules. I just remember in basketball, our varsity coach, he wasn't a teacher at Poly, so we had Mr. Bumpus, the PE teacher at Poly. We had him as our 6th period, practice class for basketball. He was our teacher on, the roll and the attendance. So we would stand on numbers outside the gym before going into the gym for practice every 6th period, and Bumpus would take roll. But that's an example of a coach not being a teacher but being a coach. They pretty much just sub. So it's one of those things where it's if you're looking for a coaching job, that's your priority, I assume you're an easier hire and just a more desirable hire when you have that teaching credential that allows you to be a teacher at the same time.
Yeah.
Because then there's no extra work with having another teacher be the person on paper who's the teacher and stuff.
Right. It's probably just a small addition. You don't have to have another person on your payroll.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I'm gonna switch gears a little bit. So
go for it.
Well, first of all, let me preface this by saying I really want to talk about Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but I won't.
Oh my
I
god.
won't.
Oh my god.
Especially this last episode. And
I'm right there with you.
A little preclude.
Yeah.
A little preclude for everyone. Tune in next week. Next week, right, Frank?
Yeah, next week, yeah.
Next week, we're going to have a special guest, and we're going to go through, since at that point, it'll be the final episodes coming out this Thursday. So we'll have basically a little discussion about our guest, and then we'll go into maybe a final review of that
our
series.
thoughts on the series.
Yeah. So we're going to hold off for that, until that. But I wanted to talk to you about this thing that's happening in soccer right now, and I think that you're really gonna like this. Okay,
yeah.
so
is this like the Euro League?
The Euro League?
Is it something like that to do with that?
Kinda, yeah.
Okay, yeah. Go ahead.
Carry on. What do you know about it?
All I know. I just told you all I know.
Oh, okay. Then I don't think it has anything to do with it.
Okay.
I mean, it's in Europe, yeah.
Okay.
So I'm going to try and explain this to the best of my knowledge. I honestly don't know much about it other than sort of the overarching theme of it or the overarching concept. But essentially, right, so you know how soccer works, right? Or at least in Europe. You have your domestic league, and that league, you have to earn the right to play in that league, right? So you have to win.
Yeah.
Basically, you have to either do well in the league or do well in or do the best in a lower league to move up, right, which is called promotion. And if you do bad in the top league, you get relegated, right? It means you go back down to the shittier league, for lack of a better word. And same thing goes for these country tournaments like the Champions League, like the Europa League, where teams from different countries will play each other. And the Champions League is like the end-all, be-all, right? Like everyone wants to win the Champions League because it's the competition. All the best teams in Europe play this competition. But keyword, best teams. So you have to earn that in your domestic league. You have to get top 4 per se for the Premier League. Same thing with like Italy, the Bundesliga, right? Germany. And so it's all about like you have to earn your right to be in these competitions, essentially. So recently, I think with the past couple of days, something had came out saying that a lot of the major teams within Europe plan on, segregating themselves a little bit and creating their own league that would play on Wednesdays. So it wouldn't affect the domestic leagues, but it would just add games onto their schedule. And so they are trying to, or I guess they had a letter of intent saying that they wanted to create their own league with pretty much just all the big names. Like, it's not even based on talent. It's more based on revenue. So, like, anyone that has a lot of fans would be in these leagues, or this league specifically. And they basically announced this. I think it was like 12 teams or something like that, announced that they had a letter of intent or they wanted to do this. And major fan critics, I mean, basically the whole soccer ecosystem, major backlash. Because one of the things that was said in this letter of intent, or I guess the plans of the league, was there was no promotion or relegation for these 12 like founding teams or whatever. And so everyone was like super pissed about it because it, emulates all these like rich clubs and these rich owners just trying to get more wealth and more wealth and more wealth, and to have like a secured spot regardless of their performance in any other league, right? And I'm telling you this, and I said that you might like hearing about this because it's actually really similar to American sports. And it's really funny to me to like see and to hear everyone complain about it. And I agree. I 100% agree with everyone. I think it's totally messed up, and the league should not continue or start. But I wanted to get your take on it. What do you think?
Well, I think that's one of the weirdest things about soccer is the whole demotion from leagues.
Yeah.
You know, moving up and moving down.
Yeah.
Because the thing with American sports is when you suck, you're going to suck until you either get lucky with some draft picks or pay money not to suck. You know?
Yeah.
And I don't see that big of an issue with starting your own league in soccer with like the best of the best. And I don't see a big issue this is from the point of view of me who is only a soccer fan when the World Cup is on, okay?
Typical. That's fine. That's fine.
But that's every 4 years, so I just have like such a removed view from it. But the way I see it is there's already so many leagues, you know? You're talking about moving up, moving down. Why not add another one? You know? Like that's like I don't see the point in complaining about moving further in a direction you're already going. You know? You've already confused me. You've already created a system that isn't attractive to me because I have to care about all these different groupings.
Yeah.
And adding another grouping isn't gonna I don't think it's gonna add any fans, and I don't think it's gonna take away any fans either. Because you clearly just explained the hell out of that, okay?
Oh,
and
thanks.
So you know what's going on, and you know the potential outcome, and if that outcome happens, I don't think it's going to affect you as a soccer fan in terms of knowing what to care about and rooting for Chelsea and so on and so forth. You're still going to understand the game, and you're going to understand what's going on with this new league. But for someone like me who doesn't watch soccer for the exact reason that I think there are too many leagues that you're supposed to care about, adding this new league isn't going to bring any new fans in. But I don't think it's going to lose any fans either. So I don't see I don't see that. What's the fuss? You know, why complain?
I mean, from an outside perspective, I guess you have the outside perspective here, right?
Yeah, I do. Yeah,
and I really enjoyed that because one, it was quite humorous, and two, I mean, you're right. Everything you explained, you're totally right. You're like, does it really matter? You know? It's funny, you know, because, I mean, you mentioned the World Cup, right? And even like the Olympics, like per se, let's just compare the Olympics to like the soccer format. You still have to earn your right to be at the Olympics for, like, let's just say basketball, you know?
Yeah.
You just have to earn your right to be there. You know, you can't just have like a crappy team, or you can't just always be at the Olympics. You know, you have to qualify, right? And the same thing with the World Cup. It's like, you remember, the United States didn't qualify this past World Cup. And it's kind of on that format of like, and, you know, I mean, personally, I would love if the USA was automatically qualified because we bring in a shit ton of money.
Exactly.
But that's not how it works. But yeah, I mean, I really think it was funny that you had that perspective. I mean, my perspective is, I mean, I kind of already explained it, but I don't think it should happen. I don't think it should happen because the format, right? It's like you have this league of the Champions League, right? And that is the end-all, be-all. That's like the superior league. If you get to the Champions League, like, you have succeeded. And not only that, now you're competing for the most prized trophy in Europe, right? And let's say this league happens, right? Let's say you get, 6 clubs from England, 2 clubs from Germany, some from Italy and France, whatever, right? Let's say. Well, what happens if a no-name club wins the Premier League and they go on to the Champions League, right? Does it now devalue their accomplishment just because they're not in this exclusive club, money-making machine championship? And, I mean, like, I'm all for the concept of it. Like, I would love if those teams always were in a champion or a tournament together, and they always played every year, right? Like a lot of the big name teams, like Bayern Munich per se. Like, you're familiar with Bayern Munich, right?
Yeah, I've heard of them.
Right. I mean, Chelsea doesn't get the opportunity to play Bayern Munich that often, because they're in different leagues, and you have to get to the Champions League, and then not only that, but you're in a tournament setting. So each of you have to win a series of games and not lose certain ones to, or not lose any to be able to meet, right? And so it often doesn't happen. And so in that way, I would really enjoy this to happen, and I would really like to see all these teams battling it out every year. These are the teams with the most money, which, money usually equals the best talent and the best coaches and the best soccer. But yeah, I mean, I love how you put it. Like, it's not going to change anything,
And I also,
besides more injuries.
Yeah, that's true. It's funny that you mentioned this because I only really knew what you were referring to when you're talking about getting demoted and getting promoted to different leagues. I do remember you have explained that to me before, but it was fresh in my mind because I had just watched the series on Apple TV Plus called Ted Lasso. That's about the football coach who gets hired to coach a football team.
Jason.
A soccer team, I should say. Yeah.
Jason Sudeikis.
Jason Sudeikis, yeah.
Yeah, I loved those commercials.
Yeah, dude, it's really funny, and I really recommend it to anybody who has Apple TV Plus. And it's one of those shows that it's not only really funny, but it's also very heartwarming because Jason Sudeikis' main character that he's playing, Ted Lasso, is such a sweetheart that he just you can't help but root for him, and it's just and he plays it so well, and he does this southern accent that just makes you really root for him. Yeah, so it's a really good series. I definitely recommend it. And it's got some funny soccer lingo in it too.
Some funny soccer lingo. He's from Texas, right? Ted Lasso.
Yeah, he's from some southern state
or
in
Tennessee,
the United
maybe?
States. Like he was the Wichita State football coach, and that's where he had his best season as a coach, was Wichita State. So and Wichita State is in the South. I can't think of where it is right now.
No idea. Let me ask you this: How did they explain the origin of him getting there? Like, was it kind of just? Was it one of those?
Kansas. He's from Kansas.
Oh, he's from Kansas. Was it one of those situations where it was just sort of briefly said and they didn't really go into explanation, or did they actually give sort of a logical reasoning behind hiring a famous football coach to coach soccer?
Yeah, that's one of the best parts of the shows, actually, is how they make that hiring of him and why he was hired. They make that a main plot line of the show. And yeah,
I really like that.
It's really well done because it brings in his boss, like the boss, the owner of the company the owner of the soccer team who hires Ted Lasso.
What team is it? Is it Tottenham? Hotspur?
I think it's Manchester. I think it's Manchester something.
Manchester. Okay.
But she basically hires this, American football coach from Kansas because she wants the football team, the football club, to fail, and because she owned it with her ex-husband, and he lost his share or whatever in the divorce or something like that. So she became like the majority owner and president.
And she's like, I'm going to get back to him, or back at him.
I'm going to get back at him because she's like, this is the only thing he cares about is this team. So I'm going to hire a coach who knows nothing about, European football, and he's going to just tank this team. And that's where you get the heartwarming stuff, is they keep that storyline going, and the fact that it starts out as her trying to, use him as a way of screwing the team, and then she realizes like how good of a person he is and how good of a coach he actually is, and how his greatness as a person and a coach translates to a sport that he knows nothing about. Yeah. And it just like she starts to care by the end. Yeah, it's really well done.
Oh man.
Yeah.
That is awesome. Cuz I had seen those episodes, or not those episodes, but those the ads. I forget what they were even ads for. They might have been ads for the Premier League or something like that. And
I think it was for the Premier League on NBC.
Yeah. And
you're talking about the NBC commercials, like that originally had his character, right?
Yeah, where this was like the TV show origin
is based
was because
on the commercials.
People really liked those commercials. Yeah.
You know what it says on the opening credits for Ted Lasso, the TV show?
What?
It says based on pre-existing format characters from NBC Sports.
Wow, that's hilarious.
It's like, what the fuck does that mean?
Yeah, like you only are gonna make that connection if you know about the commercials. You know, it's not like exactly, you read that and you're like, oh, it must have been a commercial, something like that. You know, you'd be like, what? Where did this character come from? You know?
Yeah, no, it's oh man, it's really funny. And that's really why I think the show works, is because they take the one story part of the commercials and they make it the focus, you know? Because you're watching the commercials, you know, what is it, like 5 or 6 years ago, and you're laughing, and the reason why you're laughing is because you're like, a European football club would never hire an American football coach to coach, and you're like, and you're laughing. Yeah. And then they make explaining that like the plot drive of the show, and it works really good. Yeah, so I recommend it.
That's so awesome. Imagine being the writer for that TV show. Like when it's first announced and they're hiring writers, and you're like, okay, I have these commercials in front of me where it's not explained why he was hired, and now I have to make it into a show that is actually going to run for hopefully longer than a season.
That's also what makes it
brilliant.
That's how you know it's good, is because Jason Sudeikis was part of that development. He was part of the whole thinking process of how do we turn this character into a whole series. Yeah.
Brilliant, dude. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Wow. I might have to figure out how to watch that, because I heard about them possibly doing a show, and I was like, wow, that is going to be so good. And I was super excited about it.
Yeah.
So is the whole season out? Did they just drop it, or are they doing episodes?
Yeah, the whole season is out. It came out last year, 2020. I think it came out in the beginning of last year. So it's been out about a year now.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely gonna figure out how to watch it.
Another show, it's more of a recent drop that I just watched the first season of. It's called Invincible. It's an Amazon.
I'm dripping sweat right now. Sorry, carry on.
Okay, we'll close with this.
All right.
It's an Amazon original. So, like, if you have Prime, you can watch it.
Okay.
And it is based on a comic book by one of, I'm pretty sure, one of the writers of the Walking Dead comic books. And it's a superhero show about a father-son superhero combo. And basically, imagine if Superman had a wife and a kid, and it was, you know, pretty much telling their story. Like the kid's a teenager in high school, and he's getting powers because his dad is Superman, and that's pretty much what the show is. I could give more details to like get you interested, but all I can say is it's super violent. You know,
is it canon in the Boys cinematic universe?
No, I don't think so. I think it's its own comic. I think it's its own standalone comic book series. It is based on a real comic book, and I don't know what comic book publisher publishes it, but
okay.
I'm pretty sure it's standalone. And it's got an all-star voice cast. So you have Steven Yeun, the voice actor who played Glenn. I mean, wasn't a voice actor on The Walking Dead, but he played Glenn. You remember Glenn from The Walking Dead?
Yeah. Wait, so is this it's an
animated show.
Yeah. I didn't hear that.
So
okay.
Steven Yeun, he voices the main character, the Invincible guy, the teenager superhero dude. And then you have J.K. Simmons, you know, known for J. Jonah Jameson, Spider-Man.
Yeah.
He's voicing the Superman father figure. And then the whole rest of the cast is really stacked. And there's Seth Rogen's in an episode, but it's really cool because it reminds me a lot of old DC superhero cartoon shows, kind of like Teen Titans and like the early 2000 Justice League. It reminds me in terms of animation style and story and characters. It reminds me of those, but it's really cool because it's like the adult version of that. So I think the show really hits for the audience that was growing up, like pretty much, late 90s, early 2000 babies, because when they were kids, they had this early Justice League Teen Titans to watch, and now that they're adults, it's kind of got that same animation feel, but it's bloody and violent and, cussing and all that stuff. So
nice.
It's a really cool show. I highly recommend it. And the end of the first episode, you're locked in. Like, I gotta tip my hat, because the ending of the first episode just gets you immediately sucked in, because it blows your freaking lid off. It's wow. It's
cool.
Nuts. Yeah.
Back to my point about what I was suggesting, that it was canon. I mean, I was really joking. I wasn't suggesting, but asking if it was canon within The Boys. I was thinking about this today, because I know that Netflix and Marvel had a partnership or whatever, where they would show their films and had some TV shows.
Yeah, like the Daredevil and Jessica Jones and stuff.
Right. The Cage one too.
Yeah, Luke Cage and Iron Fist.
Cage. I was wondering if we're gonna see, in the future. I mean, especially now that Marvel has their own thing going on, DC's with like HBO Max. I was thinking about it, and I was like, man, I wonder if pretty much just Netflix, but other streaming services as well, are they going to come out with, these superhero cinematic universes? Like, are they going to try it? Are they going to try and compete? Like, imagine a Netflix universe that they create, or something along those lines. I mean, I'm in for it. Like, I'm in for it.
Idea.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I think
why wouldn't Netflix do it?
Yeah, and I think there's enough comic book properties for these different medias to buy up and kind of start their own thing,
Yeah, at least base it off something. Not like start from scratch.
A good example would be like the Kick-Ass comic books.
Oh yeah.
I know Lionsgate made the first two movies, that movie studio, and I don't know, what the kind of contract they have on that comic book series, but that would be a good example of a comic book series that if it suddenly becomes available, it would be really smart for someone like Netflix to purchase the rights to that, because you could definitely do a superhero universe on a streaming platform like Netflix with something like Kick-Ass that's very much, reality based in terms of it's bloody, it's violent, and it's like real people dressing up as superheroes beating each other up, and that kind of thing is like something I think would fit on Netflix, because they can really do anything in terms of violence and cussing. They don't have any rules, so there's a lot.
Well, they don't have like a network, right? They have
exactly. They don't have so, and that's pretty much how every streaming service is now. They're all they're showing what they want, saying what they want in their series, and I think that could lead to what you're talking about, and a lot of different streaming platforms starting their own, comic book based series.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to see it because, Netflix has a lot of revenue right now, and so they can really start trying to. They have to be thinking about it. Like when I thought of this idea, I was like, no way am I the only person that's thought about this, or at least am I the only person, compared to Netflix. Like, no way. They have to have thought about it at least. So I'm interested to see. Maybe they're under some contract with Marvel. Maybe they had to sign something saying like, you can't produce any other superhero, blah blah blah, for 10 years or whatever.
Yeah, 10 years after working with us, you got to take a 10-year break.
That might make sense. But we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. Anyways, you want to close it out?
Yeah, let's close it up. I don't want you to turn into a pile of sweat.
Yep.
All right, dude. So episode 67.
Episode 67. Crazy.
Yep. Keeping it moving.
Thanks
everybody for listening, subscribing, liking, watching, sticking with us. We love you. Peace out.
Love y'all. Peace.
Cheers.
Catch you next week.